Microcurrent works because your body is electrical. Your cells respond to gentle signals because healing requires energy, and that's what we're giving it. And because the nervous system prefers subtlety, not aggression. It doesn't force change, it invites the body back into balance. Welcome back to the Pain Free for Life podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Rob Vanbergen, and today we're talking about microcurrent. This is a therapy that has been around for decades. It's what we specialize in, yet it still raises a lot of questions. People are concerned about the fact that it's electricity. They worry, is it safe? Why is it so subtle? And why does it seem to make such a major difference for so many people? And how come something that I can barely feel can actually do anything at all? So today's goal is simple. We're going to explain what microcurrent is, what it is doing in the body, and why it works. I'm going to cut the jargon, I'm going to cut the hype or the mystery. We're just going to be diving into the facts. So let's start with what microcurrent actually is. Microcurrent is a very low-level electrical current. It's measured in millionths of an amp. To put that into perspective, it is far, far lower than tens. It is far lower than muscle stimulation, and it's often close to the electrical levels your body already uses naturally. In fact, as long as we do that correctly, that is what we should be doing. Your body is not just chemical. Despite what biology may lean towards, it is electrical as well. Every cell communicates using tiny electric signals. Nerves fire electrically, muscles contract electrically, and cells maintain a specific voltage across their membranes. Now, microcurrent works because it speaks the same language that your body already uses. Healthy cells maintain a strong electrical charge, and when cells are stressed, or they're injured, or they're inflamed, or they become massively depleted, their electrical charge drops dramatically. Communication then becomes less efficient, healing slows down, and disease can set in. Microcurrent helps by gently supporting cellular charge, by improving the signals, between the cells and encouraging tissues to return towards a balanced state. Think of it like jump-starting a low battery, not forcing the engine to run, but giving it enough support to restart its own processes. Importantly, microcurrent does not override the body. It supports the body's natural repair mechanisms. Now, one of the most common concerns is I don't really feel much of anything. It's just a little tingle, or sometimes nothing at all. Does that mean it's not working? Well, the answer is no. It often is working, even if you can't feel it. Microcurrent works at levels close to the sensory threshold, so you're not necessarily feeling much of anything, and this is intentional. High-intensity stimulation, which we can achieve with our devices, would activate muscles and nerves. Microcurrent that isn't high intensity is instead working below that threshold, right? It's influencing cellular repair. It's influencing inflammation signaling, nervous system regulation. And although sometimes we want to activate those nerves, and we want to activate those muscles and move them, and we do this in many of the protocols, oftentimes we're just looking at signaling the system in the body and getting it to work. This is why people often notice delayed effects. The amount of clients that we used to have that would come in, we'd do a full treatment on them. They'd say, I guess I feel a little bit better. But then the next day or hours later, they're like, wow, okay, that problem's completely gone. Is crazy. Because people will notice these effects hours later. They might notice better sleep that night. They might notice improved mobility. They might notice they feel less sore and inflamed the next day. Healing typically doesn't announce itself loudly, right? This is why when we're sick and we go to bed and we wake up and then we forget we were sick because we're better, it's this very subtle change. Now, one of the most studied effects of microcurrent is its influence on ATP. This is adenosine triphosphate. This is the energy molecule that your cells use to do everything, okay? ATP fuels tissue repair. It fuels inflammation control. It fuels nerve signaling and muscle recovery and so on. Research has shown that microcurrent can increase ATP production. It can give cells more energy to repair themselves. And this helps explain why microcurrent is used for things like pain relief and wound healing and muscle recovery and nerve support, and really why it's so impactful on chronic conditions. Because in all of these things, depleted energy means healing is impossible or at least extremely challenging. Healing requires electrical energy. Microcurrent helps restore access to it. Now, consistency often matters more than anything else, and placement is important too. Microcurrent isn't about just zapping a problem area. Nerves follow specific pathways. Circulation patterns matter. Lymphatic drainage matters. All of these things affect inflammation, the root of all disease. And the nervous system integrates signals globally, meaning that working on, say, the vagus nerve will impact large areas of the body. Now, consistency also matters more than intensity. Typically, we want low and slow. We do short treatments that are consistent to train the body. These small, regular inputs often produce better results than sporadic, aggressive sessions will. And this is why microcurrent is often described as teaching the body or training it, not forcing it. We're working with your body. So, if this is the way it works, how come results can be different for different people? Well, microcurrent doesn't produce identical results in everyone. Nothing really does. But this isn't a flaw. This is important. Response depends on different things in the body. Hydration status, mineral balance, nervous system state, inflammation level, right? If you are chronically inflamed versus acutely inflamed. Sleep quality, stress load, and overall cellular health all factor in too. In highly stressed or depleted systems, the body is going to prioritize instead calming itself down, regulating sleep and circulation, things that we need to do to survive. This is just the way our bodies work. It's trying to live, right? And we have to allow it to do that. So when people aren't dealing with depleted systems or high stress, they're able to heal faster. Pain relief, pain resolution, this often follows, but it's not always first. And this is why patience and observation are key here. Okay, so let's clear up some myths that I hear about microcurrent. Myth. Okay, myth number one, stronger current works better. No, not true. In fact, less is more. This is why our devices use these really small electrical impulses and lower frequencies. And we see that the lower frequencies are the ones tuned to repair the tissues. The higher ones do more of the stimulation and as well of getting rid of some of that inflammation, but they're not necessarily tuned to actually heal the body. Next thing, you should feel it working in the moment. Healing doesn't require sensation. You're not always going to feel the tingle. You're not always going to feel the change immediately, okay? This can take time. Your body is electric. You are not currently, as you sit here listening to this podcast, unless you're using microcurrent technology, you're not necessarily feeling the current moving through your bodies. But it is. If you're a living human being, you have electricity running through your bodies and you're not feeling it. It's subsensory. Microcurrent matches this electricity in your body. Now, the other thing that people talk about often is that it replaces all other care. Now, it doesn't simply replace everything, right? Although it can play a major role, it doesn't mean that you can just use microcurrent and start eating all that fast food again, or drinking unlimited amounts of alcohol, or not exercising ever and be perfectly healthy. That is not the case. And then some people will say that microcurrent's only for pain. Pain is one very small, or in some cases very big, outcome, but improved function of your entire body is the true goal. Keep this in mind, right? Microcurrent works because your body is electrical. Your cells respond to gentle signals because healing requires energy, and that's what we're giving it. And because the nervous system prefers subtlety, not aggression. It doesn't force change, it invites the body back into balance. Now, if you're new to microcurrent, think of it as a conversation with your body. It's not a command. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you found this helpful, if you thought that this really finally made you understand what microcurrent is, please feel free to share it with someone else who's curious but unsure about microcurrent therapy. So thanks again for listening, everyone, and we will see you for the next episode. I'm Dr. Rob Vanbergen, and you're listening to Pain Free for Life.